accused.
Accessory
after the
to a
fact.
felony, yes. And
if he did it again, it was accessory before, during, and after the fact.
Well, yeah, but there was also a conspiracy to cover up the crime by issuing gag orders, and that came out of his office as well. So yeah, there's an effort underway. It will probably fail. It will probably not be heard. Much like the whole issue with trying to arrest George Bush in the world world court fell on deaf ears. But this is a very, very dark day for the Catholic Church after John Paul II was so beloved. So much the diplomat, so much the people's pope. And then we find out what was going on behind the scenes under, Benedict now, but
Ratzenberger.
It's that's Ratzen something, but rats in Rome.
Right. Oh God, we're all gonna burn in hell. No, we're not.
I've got a warm rock saved for me, so.
and you know, it's just unfortunate. This whole thing was unfortunate, and it's true. What's really unfortunate about this is that this really sort of reflects on the whole religion, and I would hate to see this sort of reflect on Catholicism as a whole. And not that I'm not Catholic, but I would hate to see this reflect on the religion and the people that practice that religion.
Right. I am, and my family is, and it's offensive.
I mean, my understanding, my observation of this is that some of the most outspoken critics of what has happened are Catholics.
Sure.
The families of the people who are abused. And to say that's a sort of a Nazi-esque persecution insults your own flock.
Yes.
Yeah, as the persecutors.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah. And it is. This isn't a condemnation of the Catholic faith or Catholics, but this political institution at the head of the church that has systematically made decisions to protect their own butts instead of their flock. That needs to change, and it needs to change yesterday.
Yeah.
And it needs to change 40 years ago.
The gotcha is that's not a democratic system. That's a monarchy. There's one man in charge, and he and his counselors dictate how the church operates. But so to expound upon that, if you want.
Sure.
Shoot, I missed what the source of this was. Well, I know it originally came from the AP, and the Vatican on Wednesday tried to diffuse growing anger over remarks by the Pope's top aide that the problem behind the pedophile priest scandals is homosexuality and not the Church's celibacy requirement.
Oh, God.
Cardinal Tarcisio Bertone, the Holy See's Secretary of State, outraged gay advocacy groups, politicians, and even the French government with his remarks Monday in Chile. Quote, "Many psychologists and psychiatrists have demonstrated that there is no relation between celibacy and pedophilia," the Italian cardinal said. "But many others have demonstrated, I have been told recently, that there is a relation between homosexuality and pedophilia. That is true. That's the problem." There have been a lot of studies. Every study has shown that they're not related.
No.
That just because the priests who are committing pedophilia might have homosexual tendencies doesn't mean homosexuality is the cause of it.
Right. They're completely separate things. And in fact, it's not always little boys.
No, it's not. It's just that in the Catholic Church, little girls aren't allowed to be altar boys. So the only people around to abuse are boys, or in large part are only boys. And anybody who has learned anything about these kinds of crimes, rape and pedophilia, understands that it's a crime of power, it's a crime of position, it's not a crime of passion.
Right.
And that upset somebody. Bertone was evidently referring to, they backpedaled, saying that Bertone was evidently referring to statistics recently supplied by the Holy See's own prosecutor handling sex abuse allegations, which had said that of the priests that were involved, pedophilia in the strict sense accounted for 10% of the cases. In 60% of the cases, it involved adolescents in homosexual relations. Because, you know, that's not pedophilia.
Yeah, wait a minute.
While the other 30% of the cases involved adolescents in heterosexual relations.
Over the age of 13 is okay?
Well, you know, I mean, the church does have some very old rules. They might consider 13 to be the age of consent.
I believe we actually have a phone call, so here we go. Good evening, NLC Trans, you're on the air.
Hi, I'm not going to argue with you. The age of reasoning is 7, according to the Catholic Church.
Aha!
Wow.
You know,
hence First Communion.
Right, exactly. That's when you can receive.
Yep.
And
you make the decision to join the church.
Of course, and pay. Here's your set of envelopes, kids.
That's right.
It's.
At age 7, you start tithing. You receive your First Communion.
Wow.
I am still so grateful for the education I got at my parochial school as a child.
Yep.
Oh,
but
sure.
I am so frustrated with how the church has treated me since I have been divorced, married and divorced,
right,
in the eyes of the Catholic Church. And I have never believed in all these years that the Pope is infallible, which is what they teach you in school, because he is Christ's man on earth now, and he makes all of the decisions. So a little more food for thought there.
Yeah.
Well, see, our favorite Ratzenberger in Rome person, he wasn't Pope when he did all this. He was fallible at that time.
Right.
That's true.
Even within their own definition.
John Paul was covering this up, too. He didn't want to hear about it.
No,
None of the popes have wanted to hear what the priests and the cardinals and the bishops and the archbishops have been doing.
Right.
Because it would look bad. It is bad. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's bad.
No, I like to reference one of Robin Williams' skits where he talks about the priest pedophilia issues, and he reminds everyone it's not just a sin, it's a felony.
It's true.
Yeah.
But, you know,
in state,
Pope is
in federal, and
infallible, so
international
it can't
law.
possibly be happening because he says it's not.
It's not.
Right. You know,
And even if it is, you can't come after me for it.
Hmm?
And even if it is, you can't come after me for it.
No. Head of state? Ooh, that's a good one. I never heard that one. But great show tonight. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kate.
You cannot salvage honor by covering it up. The only possible way to salvage any honor is to try to fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see, I hadn't finished reading this, but nearly immediately after Bertone's comments at a news conference in Santiago, Chile, Chile's gay rights advocates denounced what they called a perverse strategy by the Vatican to shirk its own ethical and legal responsibilities with a spurious and disgusting connection. The French government bristled at what it saw was an offense to human rights efforts. This is an unacceptable association that we condemn, French Foreign Ministry spokesman Bernard Valero said in an online briefing. France reiterates its resolute commitment to the fight against discrimination and prejudice linked to sexual orientation and gender identity.
Good for them.
Paris Mayor Bertrand Delanoë also expressed his condemnation Wednesday for what he called the unexpected and regrettable comments. He said the Cardinals' shocking link was all the more dangerous because these positions deliberately stigmatize an identity and harm the respect for diversity and individual liberty.
Yeah.
Well, it would also potentially endangers people's personal safety because now,
Sure.
oh, well, okay, they're sickos. It's clearly okay to harm them.
Right. Oh, yeah. You're homosexual. You must be a pedophile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And for clarity's sake, because the last couple times we've talked about it, I've said I don't remember what it was called. They have it listed here. The future